Thanks for joining us today. You know, I've discovered that you only live once, and this might be it. So while we're all here, we might as well be as good at being ourselves as we can be. My name is Bill Stone, and I'm going to talk about one way to improve your personal performance and to apply that improvement to making business decisions by understanding your temperament and then taking the personal leadership to be as good at being yourself as you can. So let's get started. Temperament refers to our unique below-the-waterline preferences that truly dictate our successes and failures. We all have skills and things that we know how to do, but it's the way we behave while we're applying what we can do that really determines how well we do. Now, the good news is these unique qualities can be measured. We can learn how to nurture them and bring them to bear on business problems with great efficiency. We'll still have those default temperament preferences, but we can learn to manage them more effectively. And that's where the personal leadership comes in. It's stepping up to the plate and taking responsibility for becoming self-aware and using that self-awareness to apply ourselves in business decisions. Deep within our brains, we find the amygdala, and this is where those knee-jerk reactions dwell. We are wired with the temperament that comes standard equipment with all of us. Our unique preferences are deep within our brains and are not something that we have learned, but they are there to protect us when we're under stress or in situations where we just plain don't want to have to think. Now, I trust this scene doesn't remind you of a colleague or a particularly difficult customer. Our ancestors in these situations had to react quickly and without having to think about it. Those people in the past who did not react quickly and did stop to think about it didn't become ancestors. So that tendency within us to have those knee-jerk reactions has served us well over the ages. It just doesn't serve us well in all situations. Temperament for our purposes today refers to personality traits such as introversion or extroversion. And these tendencies are hardwired in your brain. They're innate. They aren't things that you've learned. Now, you can adapt. So if you're an introvert, you can learn how to function in, say, networking situations. Or if you're an extrovert, you can learn to work on your own and make decisions by yourself. But you're still going to be an introvert or an extrovert. You're not going to change that. It still is going to influence your behavior, although you can mitigate the influence. The good news is this temperament can be measured so that you can understand how much of an extrovert or how much of an introvert you may be. The above-the-waterline behaviors are those things that are there for all to see. We can describe them on resumes, interviews, references, that basically ask the question, can you do the job? Do you have the skills that you need? The things that are less apparent on resumes, etc., are those below the waterline behaviors. Are you going to be able to get along with your future colleagues? Will you do a little work? Are you going to steal? Are they going to be able to teach you anything? Those are the things like temperament that are not readily obvious with our traditional interviewing or performance review processes. Managing our innate behaviors can be accomplished in several ways. Absent a sharp blow to the head or someone following us around all day with a pointed stick, it's difficult to guide ourselves sometimes. But there are models out there that can be very helpful. Probably the most popular one is the Myers-Briggs type indicator, and that certainly is a good instrument. In business settings, I prefer the Big Five temperaments because some of the assessments that have come from that seem to be more precise for our purposes. The one that I prefer to use comes from Resource Associates and has been normed against a variety of occupational groups, and I found it to be quite helpful in predicting future behaviors and helping people to manage their behavior. But again, it's one model that's out there. The big 5 temperaments upon which those assessments are based are agreeableness, conscientiousness, extroversion, openness, and emotional resilience or neuroticism. I prefer emotional resilience to the term neuroticism. We're going to be looking at these big 5 temperament scales in detail in the next series of workshops. But before we do that, I'd like to have you go to our website and download the big 5 temperament scales. This is free. You simply register and then away you go. If you do have a chance to look over this form, it'll give you the background to get the most out of the next series of workshops. So once you have done that, read over the material, and then get ready to move on to the next workshop, agreeableness. Well, thank you for spending this time with us and for this introduction. We now have 6 more little sessions to go, 1 on each of the temperament scales and 1 on a move to action. And I certainly hope that you will join us. If we can be of further help to you, here's our contact information. And if you have questions, comments, or would like our help, we'd love to have a chance to work with you. So, good luck, and I hope to see you at the next session.